The safest way is to get into the bullion coins that are minted by governments, because governments tend to be pretty ruthless with the people who counterfeit their coins. And there's not a lot of counterfeiting that goes on with precious metal coins for that reason. I'm talking about bullion coins, not numismatic coins, which are collector coins, and I'll talk about those in a minute.
Okay.
But the bullion coins are fairly safe. I never hesitate to buy bullion coins, but there's one precaution that I take, which I recommend to everybody, and that is that there's a company called Fish Instruments, and it's spelled F-I-S-C-H, Fish Instruments. You can find them on the internet very easily, and they make the fish counterfeit coin gauges, which they sell on the internet. And this is an example. This is called a wallet, a fish wallet, and inside you have 5 gauges for various coins. Now the way these gauges work is just straight simple physics. When the Earth was formed, it had a lot more light metals than heavy metals. And there's an awful lot more aluminum out there than there is gold, silver, and platinum. And so the gold, silver, and platinum are very expensive, and the aluminum is very cheap. So as you go up the scale in weight or density of the metals, they get more expensive. So it's extremely difficult to fake, for instance, gold, because whatever metal you would use that's the same weight is probably as expensive or more expensive.
I see.
Now the way the fish gauge works is on the density of the metal. And let's take Canadian maple leaf here as an example. Each gauge is designed to make 3 tests. You take the coin and you first drop it through this slot to check the thickness of the coin, and then you lay it in its little tray to make sure it's circular and the correct diameter. And then you just lay it down on a flat surface, and you test it a couple of times to make sure that it tips. If it tips, then, and you pass the other 2 tests, then that means that the metal has to be as dense or denser than gold, which means as expensive or more expensive than gold. And I wouldn't say that it's 100% foolproof, but it's got to be, like 99.99999% foolproof. So whenever you buy gold or platinum, be sure you have a fish gauge for it, and you can check each coin. And you can be, I do that, and I sleep just fine at night. I've never gotten a counterfeit, and I never worry. So definitely look into the fish gauges. Let's see. In the United States, I would suggest that at least a lot of your coins be either American or Canadian, because again, you're always thinking in terms of when I buy it, how am I going to sell it? And you want something that an American or Canadian would regard as familiar, would be comfortable with. And if it's a Krugerrand, for instance, they may never have seen a Krugerrand. They don't know anything about South Africa. They might be a little nervous, even if you've got a fish gauge, which they are made for the Krugerrand. Even if you've got one, they might be a little nervous. So at least for some of your coins, be sure you're getting American or Canadian coins, just so that it's going to be that much easier to sell when the day comes. Now it's okay to go ahead and get Krugerrands or some of the other coins, as long as you check them with a fish gauge, and just be aware that they could be somewhat more difficult to sell down the road somewhere. Not a whole lot, but maybe some. The advantage of them is they may be a little cheaper.
I see. Because
in the United States, they aren't as desirable for the reasons I just explained. You may get a little more gold or platinum for your money. Okay. Now getting back to the silver, again, U.S. silver dime, I can't say enough good about them. Among other things, if we do get into a situation where for a few weeks or months the dollar actually is worthless, and we're waiting for some new kind of currency to come along, it may be that you're going to need some precious metals to trade with other people to buy life's necessities.
Right.
And so you don't want to walk in there with a block of silver to buy a dozen eggs and have to take a knife and shave it off and expect this other guy to accept it.
Yeah.
You want a easily recognized package that the other person will trust.
I see.
And the smallest easily recognized package that the other person will trust is a pre-1965 silver dime. Also, you can get some quarters and halves because they're more convenient to handle. But absolutely start with the silver dimes. At the moment, U.S. silver dime is worth about $1. A quarter is worth about $2.50, and a half is worth about $5. So you can just assume, for rough accounting purposes, when you're asking yourself, well, how much of this silver do I want to have around in case I need to buy some of life's necessities for a few weeks or months, figure each dime is $1.
I see.
Okay, hopefully, or I expect that they're going to be worth an awful lot more than that, but at the moment, you can go on that basis. What you'll find is that the silver is very cumbersome. Silver is normally sold in canvas bags like this, and this holds about 55 pounds of junk silver. It's called junk silver. It got that name way back in the 1960s. No need to go into that right now, but when you talk to a coin dealer and you say junk silver, he's going to know what you're talking about. Okay. That's dimes, quarters, and halves minted before 1965.
I see.
And if you're going to buy very many of them, they're going to come in a silver bag. And the standard unit is $1,000 face of the coins.
I see.
So if you just counted them out according to their original value, you'd have, let's say, 2,000 halves or 10,000 dimes in a bag. And that bag will weigh 55 pounds or thereabouts. Those coins will each be 90% silver. And it'll be about the size of a bowling ball if you buy a bag. Or if you buy 10 bags, that's 10 bowling balls.
Right.
So think about where you're going to store this stuff. As you can imagine, a platinum coin, this is 1 ounce of platinum, and that's worth about $1,200 right now. That's an awful lot easier to hide than a bag of silver, which is 55 pounds, the size of a bowling ball, and is worth, I think, about how much is that worth? I don't know.
A lot.
A lot, yes. 10,000 right now, I think. Anyhow, so the gold and the platinum are much easier to store and to hide. And then that brings up the question, where? And my answer, as you know, my answer to practically all financial questions is diversify, diversify, diversify. So don't put it all in the same place.
Right.
Some of it in a bank safety deposit box is probably okay. There is the hazard that the government might confiscate gold, silver, and platinum, in which case they'll raid your safe deposit box and steal it. So, that's been known to happen, and it does happen. So it's a possibility, but that's also a very safe place to put your metal in regards to normal amateur crooks and so forth.